Welcome to our introductory course on the 5G technology. In this course, we're going to provide an overview so that you can understand quite quickly what the 5G technology is about. This course is very special because 5G is very complex and not everything that you hear about it, it's actually implemented in practice. But here, we'll cut all the noise and highlight the most important practical aspects so that you can learn very quickly what the 5G is for real and starting that completely from zero. My name is Gustavo Costa. Not only I have a PhD in wireless communication, but I have worked for more than 20 years in the most diverse areas of mobile communications and internet. And I'm now putting together all this experience and bringing to you in a format so that you can benefit from all this knowledge. In this first part of our 5G overview, we're gonna focus on one main question. This question is, what is actually 5G? And in order to answer this question, we're gonna have some steps. So the first thing that we're gonna learn about is actually what is a cellular system. So 5G is actually a cellular system, and we need to understand this before we can understand the fifth generation of cellular systems, namely 5G. Then the second question is how cellular systems have evolved up to the fifth generation. This has happened not only from generation to generation, but actually in ways that most people do not know about. Then the next question is how a 5G system can be used. Those are about the 5G usage scenarios, which are well known in the telecommunications arena, but for someone trying to understand the system the first time, it needs a lot of clarification. And finally, we're gonna understand also why 5G brings new benefits compared to older generations that should be clear from the new usage scenarios. This course is about 5G. 5G means the fifth generation of cellular systems. So in order to understand 5G, the first question that we're gonna investigate is what is a cellular system? Let's start from the very beginning and understand the concept of wireless communication. It's easier to understand wireless communications in contrast to wired communications. So in wired communications, there is actually a conducting medium which is used between a transmitter and a receiver so that you can carry content, so you can carry data, right? This conducting medium could be, for example, a coaxial cable, Ethernet cable, or fiber optics. In wireless communications, such a medium is not present. So wireless communication is actually a set of technologies used for transmission over the air. The main group in wireless communications are radio communications. And I'm sure that you are very familiar with many applications of radio or radio frequency communications on your daily life. One example is, for example, cellular systems, TV, Wi-Fi, satellite, and of course, radio. In contrast, there is also other types of wireless communications technology that do not make use of RF or radio frequency communications. Typically, if you have controller for your TV, most likely this could be implemented using infrared. That's another type of wireless communication technology. But in this course, we're going to focus on a special type of radio communications, which is mobile communication. So mobile communication can be understood as radio communications where at least one of the two sides is in movement. In that group would be included then cellular systems, but also, for example, satellite, because the satellite is moving. And finally, the cellular system is a special way of doing mobile communications, which makes use of the so-called cellular topology. That's very important, that basically instead of having coverage with a single high tower transmitting at very high power, like you have, for example, in FM or TV systems, you have many smaller towers, and those are responsible for creating many links, which are the cells. And these cells, each of them adds more capacity to the system. Those are then the so-called cellular systems. And in fact, we are talking about then the fifth generation of cellular systems.